Even your emotion had an echo in so much space. When you out there without kids, I was out of tune. But it wasn't because I didn't know, no. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly. I hope that you're having the time of your life.
Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning here in the big LSK. LSK is Lusaka. And wherever you're watching me from this morning, whether it be from Louisiana, Bogota, Perth, Australia, Columbus, Ohio, Shreveport, Plaquemine, Denham Springs, Kwakasomo, Kutwapia, Kuchirabombwe, Kuchingola, Western Province, Northern Province, Southern Province, wherever you're watching me from, the islands of the sea, the Seychelles, Madagascar, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is SML TV, and I'm here in my office here at Simoson Building in Lusaka, and thank you so much for being with me for a few moments. A couple of things I'd like to talk to you about. A few shout outs before I begin. My dear friend Joseph Chishimba is watching from, I don't know how to say this. Joseph, what you need to do is to send me a voice note that teaches me how to say this word. I can't say it. Television. That's not how you say that word. That's completely wrong. Good to have you, Joseph. Thank you so much. Somebody's watching us from South Africa. Maps. We love South Africa, and I'm so glad that, as far as I know, there was no loss of life in that failed attempt to shut down South Africa. I will say, though, that even though Julius Malema didn't attain what he planned to attain, at least he got the people talking. Everybody's words were landing on Julius Malema yesterday. So in a sense, he has cast a bright light on the issue of South Africa's political quagmire. The load shedding problem in South Africa is unbearable. The African National Congress has been there longer than they're supposed to be. It's time for South Africa to change direction. However, Julius Malema is not the man to lead that charge. Julius Malema is not an alternative. At least he shouldn't be. If South Africa were to land in the hands of a man like Julius Malema, that nation would fall apart at the seams within minutes. Julius Malema is a kingmaker. He's not a king. There are people like that. There are people in the world that are agitators. They're provocateurs. They're thought provokers. They're kingmakers, but they are not kings. Malema is one of them. Anyway, I digress. Thank you, South Africa, for watching. Appreciate you so much. Let's get into this. We're dealing with, and it's nobody here but home folk. Okay, we're dealing with a Zambian issue, a uniquely Zambian issue, and I think it's important for us, for you, for me to sit and sort of give you my view on this issue. Let's first of all talk about Kings. Kings Malembe. I used to call him Malemba. I don't know why I called him that. In my mind, it was, but his name is Kings Malemba. This gentleman here is a gospel artist, a very talented man. I mean, he's anointed to do what he does. He's a brilliant singer. He's a very sharp dresser, very good looking man. He was very distinctly aligned with the former regime, the Patriotic Front. And the PF took quite a liking to him. They liked him and he liked them. And they had a very symbiotic relationship. Kings used to sing for them, even though Kings is a gospel singer by definition. He's a child of the church. He's a product of the church. He's a minister of the gospel. Even though he is a minister of the gospel, he was very heavily aligned with the former regime, the Patriotic Front. And he used to ride high on the saddle with them. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that was his association. That was his alignment. And that was his choice. And like I said, they had a symbiotic relationship. A symbiotic relationship is a relationship that benefits both parties. If you and I are in a symbiotic relationship, it means you benefit from me and I benefit from you. That's what they had, and there's nothing wrong with that. And as you know, in 2021, the Zambian people voted out the PF, the notorious Patriotic Front, the NPF, and they ushered in this new government led by one Hakainde Hichilema. Now, Kings has gone on a rant, and I know where that rant comes from. You know what a rant is? R-A-N-T, rant. It's like lamenting, complaining. He's gone on a rant, and he's just released a video just several hours ago where he talks about how he's basically bemoaning. He's complaining that, he feels sidelined. And then he delves into something that I think is a little disingenuous and is unfair. He begins to hint, in America they call it using the race card. When all else fails, if you're a black man, when all else fails, all you do is just say, oh, you're doing that because I'm black. That's called the race card. You pull up the race card. In this case, Kings has pulled up the tribal card. According to him, because things are not going well for him, he feels that from his economic vantage point, things are not okay for him. So because they're not okay for him and his family, he throws up the tribal card. He begins to say, this current administration is sidelining me and my children because of the last name that we bear, the last name that we hold. He said that when this government looks at my children's names and they see the name Mumbi, which is Bemba, okay, Fueba Bemba, Mumbi, uti no ifituli babemba eri ababa UPND abanga bamonati nine Mumbi, eri on top of that, add to the fact that I was aligned with the PF. When they see my name, Mumbi, they automatically put a line through my name instead of under it. They deliberately disenfranchise me. They maliciously set me aside. They unfairly disadvantage me purely based on my name and my past association with the Patriotic Front. My brother, my dear brother, Kings Malembe, nothing can be further from the truth. You are feeling the way you're feeling because you're no longer associated with power. That's all it is. It's got nothing to do with your name. It's got nothing to do with the current administration trying to sideline you by virtue of the fact that you are Bemba. That's got nothing to do with that. Guys, let's be real. That ship, that vessel has sailed. This talk of tribalism and association, guilty by association, that is neither here nor there. It's got nothing to do with that. We are past that point. And anyone that tries to peddle this lie, this fabrication, this fairy tale of tribalism, you're only doing that because you are no longer associated with power. Are you hearing that? That's the bottom line. When the dust settles and when the dew dries, and you stand alone in your room and you stand in front of that mirror and you look at yourself honestly, you will very soon discover that this all has to do with the fact that you are no longer associated with power. That's it. And because that's the case, the only thing you can do, like Kings Malemba, is reinvent yourself. Adapt. Adapt, brother. But as long as you go down this trajectory, this road of blaming somebody for your woes, that is the worst excuse that you can ever conjure up, my brother. That is shallow. And you're better than that. A hell of a lot better than that. Come on. It doesn't mean just because you're no longer associated with power that you can't live a regular, normal life. This is the reason. This is the reason they are so angry. They are so furious, is because they're no longer walking down the corridors of power. But guys, you must understand that running a nation is about service. It's not about self-aggrandizement. It's not about fueba de lida ni fuego. It's not about yo batu poka. Fueba de lida no mato ambo kuchula. Fueba de lida bread butter na chite for 12 koroko. 16 hours. Ilero mbapa fiacha kwa chani fiapwa fialeka. Because fialeka awe chine turechula elio it will do everything within our power to get back our lives, because we are not used to this life of not being associated with power. But guys, it's not about that. It's about service. Are you hearing that? The words, and I'm going to bleed into this, the words of a former president should always be, "It was a privilege to serve." How many African presidents do you hear say that? How many African presidents stand in front of a microphone, in front of a crowd of people, after having lost power, after having lost an election, stands in front of a citizenry and says, "My brothers and sisters, oh, it was a privilege to serve you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve you." African presidents, former African presidents, don't know how to say that. Makamaka Muzambia no, twarirusa, batibane, twarabuela, we're coming back, and there's only one person who can float. That's nonsense. Now, let's bleed into this. The only person that will speak into ECL's political life, because let me bring you up to speed. Let me give you some backstory before I delve into this. As many of you know, and I've been saying it, and it's got nothing to do with prophecy. It's all common sense. It's the writing on the wall. It's reading the room. What you call prophecy, I call common sense. Because, in Zambia, it's very easy to mislead the masses. All you have to do is evoke the name of God, quote a few scriptures, and then say, God told me. Zambians are so dwanzi, they believe everything and anything. So this has got nothing to do with prophecy. It has everything to do with common sense. Let me bring you up to speed. As you know, our former President Lungu lost power to HH. The Zambian people decided to go in a different direction. And normally, what was supposed to happen was former President Lungu was supposed to literally hang his gloves up. He was supposed to hang his gloves up and say, you know what, I ran my race, I did my thing, I served for 7 years, I was elected twice by the people of Zambia, by the Zambian people. They gave me the privilege, the honor to serve. But my time has passed, so I hang up my gloves. Former President Lungu wrote a letter to the Secretary of the Cabinet, Mr. Simon Mitti at the time, and said, I'm no longer going to be in active politics. I'm done with this. With that letter, President Lungu's benefits begin to kick in. Now, guys, let me tell you, being a former president of Zambia is a great gig. Let me tell you. I mean, I can't think of a better life. Talk about a soft life. I mean, you guys don't even know what the definition of a soft life is until you look at the perks that a former president gets when he retires from active politics. Do you know that as a former president, you can go anywhere in the world once a year? You can go anywhere in the world, anywhere. You can go to Bogota, Colombia. You can go to Southeast Alabama. You can go to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You can go to Madagascar. All expenses paid. As a former president, your security detail is always with you. You still have security. As a former head of state, your fuel in your vehicles taken care of. You don't have to pay for anything. As a former head of state, you get half of what the current president gets in terms of salary. That's a big one. Ooh, that's a big one. Let's linger long there for a while. Let me say that again because I think that's important. As a former head of state, right now, as we speak, former President Lungu gets half of what HH gets. Bank in terms of salary. Every 30th of the month, shingila fibwana. Ni pa. March 30th, pa. April, end of the month, pa. Shida ingira fi. Mama wikere fi mune tamba DSTV, uleti fi, pa. Super Sport. Mpali. Mwaka Mugala Zuba. In Netflix. That's all you do. Do you know that? Did you know that? So all of these perks, they're called perks. Perks, P-E-R-K-S, perks. All of that will go into the drain. It will fall into the drain if someone convinces former President Lungu, kuti no, we want you back. We want you back in the game. If Lungu listens to that nonsense, Fyonsa fyonalandapa, it becomes null and void. He loses all of those benefits. Why? Because someone has whispered into his ear, Twamiewa. I love that. Twamiewa. Come back. People like child molesters, sex offenders like Chirufya Tayari, whispering in the ears of the former head of state, bottom feeders, opportunists, political imperialists like Raphael Nagachinda, whispering in former President Lungu's ears, telling him, Bwana, twali again, 2026. Ulebererapo. People like Bowman Lusambo whispering in the former head of state's ears, telling him, Bwana, Filifia Wino, Twala Bomba, Fumia Limpia, Twala Pokechalo by 2026. Nonsense. You know, you people, you just make me tired. You are telling the former head of state that nonsense, and he's listening to you. Now, here, let me tell you, the only person that will speak into ECL's political life is his wife. If Mama Esther sits down with Walungu and says, Daddy, abena tayari, whatever fiempia, abena bomani na ishibati, kwa bula imwe, tapadi afiari bomani. He's nothing, he's an entity. Kwa bula imwe, bomani na ishibati, life yakwe is completely finished. That's why Areko set up. So he's not doing it for you, he's doing it for himself. Abena Nakachinda, these are hijackers. These are chaps who came from MMD and they've come to sabotage you and the standing of the party. Daddy, don't listen to them. Na papata. Let's live a quiet life. We had a great run. 7 years was a long time. We had a good time, didn't we? We served the people of Zambia to the very best of our ability. Sure, we didn't get everything right. Sure, we didn't cross all the T's and dot all the I's. But we had a privilege to serve. Let somebody else take it up. The only person that can speak that life into former President Lungu's political life is his wife. And how many people know? Happy wife, happy life. It's the truth. Happy wife, happy life. That's how it's designed. And I think that the former president would do himself a great service if he listened to Mama Esther, assuming that she's saying that to him. But the way I know women, they run it. Women guide the ship, okay? The wives, that's what they do, and they do it very well. So that's my 2 cents worth. A couple of comments. I love this. Yes. Ati Uti UPND spokesperson. Guys, I'm not a UPND spokesperson. I'm a citizen like you. I'm a vlogger. I'm a political commentator. No. Sorry. Let me rephrase that. I am a social commentator. That's what I am. So are you. You know, what pages I in? This is my page. So I come on my page and I do what I want to do. I give you my opinion. Boom, and we're done. Okay. Guys, this is too much violence in that imitation. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless. Bye. Take care.